Well, as you say there, it's actually put a halt to my commute. I'm stuck at home this morning because Merseyrail have advised that they have no services on. They have got no rail replacement bus services this morning. So I was due to go into the office today. I'm going to be working from home. As you say there, the M62 has been gridlocked with drivers overnight. That stretches right up to our patch here in Liverpool. So it'll have affected drivers here in the area. Outside my window this morning is completely white out. We've been told of a number of schools that have been closed in the area. It's a mixed picture, so a lot of children this morning will have been nervously hoping they've got a snow day, but that's not for everybody. We've also got a series of flights being held up at Liverpool Airport with reports of planes having to circle round due to the bad weather. So it's quite the snowy picture here in Liverpool this morning.
And I guess there was a warning, wasn't there? So to some extent, people were prepared, possibly not the people on the M62 overnight.
No, certainly not. We have had in the last 24, 48 hours quite the dusting of snow. It started quite light earlier in the week and getting heavier yesterday. Certainly walking through Liverpool city centre to work was quite heavy, but this morning has been a completely different change. As you say, there has been a weather warning for across the region, but it's been a dramatic change overnight into this morning with, as I say, roads backlogged, the travel network effectively shut down this morning. There are hopes it will restart, but yeah, a real change this morning.
Listen, David, thank you ever so much for joining us. David Humphreys is from the Liverpool Echo, working from home because of the snow.
Next then, let's speak to Niamh Campbell, a reporter for the Belfast Telegraph. Morning, Niamh.
Morning.
And how are things in Belfast?
Freezing like everywhere else. Like David was saying there, I'm just looking out at thick blankets of snow here. We had an amber weather warning in place for Antrim, Down and Armagh, 3 counties until 4 a.m. this morning. And then a yellow weather warning is remaining in place until 2 p.m. today for just the entirety of Northern Ireland. And yeah, pretty much the same everywhere. Like travel conditions are pretty hazardous. Translink, which is our public transport provider, they've said that lots of services are going to be affected, and the police just basically last night advised people not to really be driving anywhere. There's quite a lot of schools closed, quite a lot of roads closed as well. We had at Belfast International Airport last night, a lot of planes were just sort of circling because the runway was closed, just waiting to land. And I believe the runway is now open again now. One thing that a lot of people have been worried about here, the Department for Infrastructure, a lot of the workers have gone on strike from various trade unions. So the department sort of released an issue to say that 107 routes covering approximately 7,000 kilometres have been gridded, and that they've gotten external contractors in to do that because, well, quite a lot of roads are still closed. I know there was they're closed at the minute, but there were some very busy roads in Armagh and County Down closed last night. But you think that was people that main concerns, are there even people out gritting the roads at the minute? But the department has said that there is, and yeah, it remains. I think there's going to be blizzardy conditions for the remainder of the weekend, but definitely there's a yellow weather warning in place until 2 p.m. today anyway.
And so an early weekend for some school pupils you were mentioning as well. So some schools are closed. All of these things, they just add up to a sort of day of disruption, I guess.
Yeah, I'm looking at a list. We've got quite an extensive list on the Belfast Telegraph at the minute. I'm trying to find my own old school because I know they'd all be happy to get a day off anyway. But yeah, I think the majority of schools are closed, plenty of nursery schools, and even the schools that aren't, there's that many roads that are closed that effectively I think any students that even do get in there, they'll not be doing much today anyway.
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much, Niamh. That's a great update. Niamh Campbell, reporter there for the Belfast Telegraph. The warnings from police in Northern Ireland have been only venture out this morning if you really must. Snow continues. Freezing temperatures are making things worse. If you must travel, clear your car properly of snow and ice. Leave extra time for your journey and slow down, was what they were tweeting earlier on this morning, 5:15 this morning.
Even on gritted roads, there can be little patches, can't there, where you have to be very, very careful. Well, let's head from Belfast over to Wales and speak to Liz Perkins, who is a journalist there who's been travelling across the country. Morning, Liz.
Morning, how are you?
Well, thank you. So give us we're well because we're inside a nice warm studio, but I appreciate it's challenging for many people out there. Give us a picture of the situation in Wales this morning.
Well, I got to say, you reported that North Wales was one of the hardest hit areas, and also Mid Wales too. It has been quite a challenge for gritters and trying to get things moving. Actually, a lot of people have been advised to stay at home. We do have snow days in schools here. For about 200 odd schools are affected, and there's been power outages in Merthyr. Really, major roads have been closed up in Flintshire, the Horseshoe Pass as well in Denbighshire, which is not a real surprise that that is closed. Is a challenge to drive most of the time anyway. But yes, it really is pretty widespread. And I know there's about 12 inches of snow have fallen in some parts of Wales. So we'll see how the day unfolds. I think it's going to be very, very difficult for some people to actually get out and about. As much as it looks a beautiful scene in a winter wonderland for quite a few people this morning.
I mean, and it's lovely for kids, isn't it? If they get a snow day, if you can work from home, it's fine. I guess this is the time where we all have to be a bit responsible and look out for maybe elderly neighbours or relatives, check that they're okay, that they're warm, that they've got food. You know, if they're literally next door, clearly not hiking a long way down the road because there are treacherous conditions.
Absolutely. I mean, it is usually the elderly and the most vulnerable in our societies who are find these situations very, very difficult, don't they? Especially if they don't have relatives and they're relying on specific council services coming out to them and supporting them in times like this. And I mean, I guess that they must be hoping that this snow abates quite quickly, but obviously there is that amber weather warning hanging around, so it's a case of wait and see for them, and let's hope that they will do okay considering these conditions.
Thank you so much for watching. You get extra points for making it all the way to the end of the video.
And if you want to see more from me, Chloe and Callum, you can join us every Friday to Sunday on Times Radio from 6 a.m.